Hey, yo, Mars here, man, with the big pen and the even bigger mouth. So today I have a question for you. And that question amounts to, let's call it the question of the day. Why is it that, especially lately, our political representatives in Washington, D.C. don't seem to care what the people they represent need? I mean, do you think it's because they're too stupid, or maybe they just don't care? Or is it possible that there's maybe something deeper going on? I feel like when future archaeologists dig up stuff from this time in history, they're going to look at this period right here, the one we're in, and think of it as the moment that it all changed as far as the issue of sexual harassment. I mean, every stone that gets turned over reveals some kind of previously undiscovered, creepy as hell bug. Okay, have you caught the news about the $27,000 sexual harassment settlement that came out last week with John Conyers, the Democratic House rep from Michigan? It started as like, just another hypocritical liberal basically busted for sexual harassment. Then, a few days ago, it came out that the $27,000 settlement was part of $17 million in settlements that have been paid out to, get this, 264 staffers. Let me draw my Democratic donkey here. Bring it down here in his mouth, nose, with a little nostril here. And move on up here to his beady little liberal eye. Yeah. Just remember, I used to be a liberal. And then somehow liberals became everything that the liberals I remember used to hate. Crazy. And in case you didn't hear that the first time, let me repeat that. Our hard-earned money is now being put towards some politician copping a feel or getting his, I don't know, pee-pee tickled? Basically, we're paying for them to not only get their jollies, but to sexually abuse other human beings and get away with it. Not effing cool, as far as I'm concerned. And $17 million. I mean, what the hell are these guys doing? Because let me put that in perspective for you. At 264 claimants, that's about $6,000 per claimant, right? So if the victims of the Fukushima nuclear plant disaster in Japan got, I think it was like $1,500 a piece, that means if my calculations are correct here, the average woman seeing a member of Congress's pee-pee is at least 4 times more poison than someone is from nuclear freaking fallout. Just saying. I mean, you look at the growing list of people engaging in this stuff or caught for engaging in it. You got Harvey Weinstein, gone. Kevin Spacey, gone. Charlie Rose, gone. Al Franken, this guy stays, you know? He stays so he can give really, really lame apologies. They're really not even apologies at all. Here are his exact words. I've met tens of thousands of people and taken thousands of photographs, often in crowded and chaotic situations. I'm a warm person. I hug people. Some women have found my greetings or embraces for a hug or a photo inappropriate, and I respect their feelings about that. I feel terribly that I've made some women feel badly. Now, that right there is the very definition of a non-apology. A statement that takes the form of an apology but with zero regret or real remorse attached. But you know what? At least Tammy Baldwin, the Democratic senator from Wisconsin, had the courage to step up. She gave a blistering statement during an interview on MSNBC. Let me fill this in here. All right. And she flat out denounced Franken for his admitted sexual harassment. She called his behavior unacceptable and said she's going to donate campaign contributions received from him to an organization for women veterans, right? So good for her. And yeah, unlike the rest of the Democrats and those 31 ladies from Saturday Night Live who are trying to protect Franken from being forced to step down, Tammy Baldwin at least stands by what she believes in. She's kind of like the Rose McGowan of the Democratic Party, except for instead of, other Democrats joining her with their Me Too stories, they're continuing to let Franken molest women. And that right there is the problem, my friend. And Tammy Baldwin is not some focus on the family conservative who's saying what's true about Franken, but really just to toe the party line. Nope. She's a gay woman. The first openly gay person elected to the Senate. And it's obvious to her that what Franken is doing is a non-apology, and that his unwillingness to step down, what he's really saying with that non-apology is, let me unpack this for you. When he says he he only really is sorry for the fact that he made some women feel badly. What that means is he's basically putting the feeling on them. They're the ones who are feeling badly. And that feeling, he's basically implying between the lines, is unwarranted because, you know, he's just a hugger. Yeah, he's a hugger. He hugs. So in plain English, he's sorry that they've misjudged his ever so innocent hugs as inappropriate. But wait a minute here. According to the Huffington Post, the two women, which now brings the total to 4, by the way, say that Franken grabbed their butts and intentionally groped them while posing for photos. Oopsie! And one of them said, right after he intentionally cupped her butt with his hand, he pressured her to visit the bathroom with him. You know, I'm going to assume he was just affording her the opportunity to wash the yuck off, as opposed to the obvious implication that he was trying to get from stealing second base all the way around the home plate. And he's out. Mark these up here. Okay. So in his non-apology, he cites taking thousands of photographs in crowded and chaotic situations as the real reason that he sometimes has inappropriate touching occurrences. Then he says, I hug people. What, bro, on their asses? I mean, if you ever hug my daughter like that, Senator, you will rapidly find yourself hugging the damn floor. Oh, God, Franken's got me drawing aggressively here. And you know, what's sad about this is I've actually caught a lot of flack from some of my liberal-leaning friends for being too hard on poor little Albert. You know what? I call BS, because wrong is wrong, right? Which brings us back to the not-so-honorable congressman who I am drawing right now from my home state of Michigan, longest-serving member of the House of Representatives, John Conyers. I think I'm nailing this caricature, by the way. Put his ear here. And let's put his mustache here. Yeah. Bottom line, this guy has gone around the sun 88 times and is still going strong when it comes to making young women feel like sex objects, and then having us foot the bill for his creepy crawling. I have 2 daughters myself, and they're both old enough to be interns and staffers, and this makes me flat out nauseous and more pissed off than a midget with a freaking yo-yo. Sorry, a little person with a yo-yo. For all my midget fans out there. And by the way, right here is where I get to what I think is really behind my opening question today about why our representatives seem to be pursuing a different agenda than ours. So in a press release the other day, Conyers had his attorney send out a message, and in it he hinted that if Conyers gets pushed too hard to step down, he may, get this, he may take many others with him. Question is he just trying to justify his actions by saying, well, you know, everyone does it? Or is this what American thinker Peter Hassan describes as a remarkable vague threat coming from Conyers' attorney? Anyone else have a sudden hankering for some popcorn here? Because, I mean, the show is about to start. You know what I mean? Here's what I mean. Here is what I mean. Shh. Do you hear that sound in the not too far distant? Sounds a little bit like a swamp draining. So, if you've ever wondered why members of Congress just don't seem to give a damn about what the average American voter wants, if you've ever been curious why our needs as voters seem to be supplanted, especially recently, by some other agenda, an agenda that feels like it is in direct conflict with what we want as voters, there's a pretty easy way to prove what it could be. And this is going to get a little bizarre, but I'm going to run this by you. Just listen to me on this. Hear me out. Since 264 plus sexual abuse and harassment settlements have been entered into by congressmen, ask yourself this. And this is a question posed by YouTuber Stefan Molyneux. Hold on to your panties, because this one really is a doozy. What would happen if the career-ending, highly blackmailable information that's in these sealed settlements is already in the hands of someone who shouldn't have it? It's a documented fact that a guy by the name of Imran Awan, who was a former Pakistani Congressional IT worker, had improper access to a huge amount of information in congressional computers. And we're talking everyone's emails here, okay? And Judge Andrew Napolitano, he recently dropped a Tsar Bomba-sized bombshell on Fox Business News. Turns out that not only did Imran Awan and his wife have access to the emails of every single member of the House of Representatives, get this, he reportedly sold it like a chop shop sells a hot Corvette to still unknown parties. And the FBI is currently investigating this. Of course, you know, they're so busy with stuff like the Russian collusion witch hunt, God only knows if they will have time to focus on real issues like this one. Anyway, this Imran guy accessed the House server for months at a time from Pakistan. From Pakistan! Then, how does stuff like this happen, right? How? So then, after accessing it from Pakistan, he then uploads terabytes of information. I think it was to like a Dropbox or somewhere in the cloud. So what if the information that was in these settlements is already in the hands of someone who should not have it? And it's being, I'm just throwing this out. It's being used to blackmail and control existing congressmen and congresswomen. Okay, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but this seems like a real possibility to me. And it would totally explain a lot of what's been going on lately with our representatives, wouldn't it? I mean, some of it just doesn't make sense. You look at it and go, why are they doing this? You know? Okay, it definitely explains why certain congressmen are so reluctant to step down. You know what I mean? Here's what I mean, okay? If someone's blackmailing a congressman, there is no effing way they would want that congressman to quit, right? Basically, it's like, if you quit, I'll release this information right now, immediately. And if the info is being used to blackmail our representatives, there's really only one way to stop it. Unseal the documents immediately. Immediately. Once the information becomes public, the blackmail ends pronto in terms of its value. Now, I don't think we should expect to see that happen anytime soon, but wouldn't it be interesting if President Trump signed an executive order to make it happen? I think it would. Talk about an instantaneous draining of the swamp. Like if this little lever up here was to get suddenly pulled and the entire swamp was just a drain, that would be awesome. Because, I mean, it's bad enough that these guys, politicians just in general, play games where they all know little secrets about each other and they all hold them over each other's heads. I mean, that's bad enough, you know? But when you start having a situation where some guy in Pakistan has gained access to the private emails of people in the House of Representatives, of everyone in the House of Representatives, and now knows all the inside dish on them and has sold that information off, it goes from politicians playing games with each other, which is bad enough, to the entire house of cards suddenly coming down because an outside force is doing it. So I'd love to see those documents get unsealed. I mean, to me, that's better than someone like Conyers using the info to blackmail other members of Congress to maintain his position as the longest running member of the House. So I think we see how he's gotten that spot, right? So as I finish up this drawing here, let me just talk you through a couple things. We live in a country where women, like this young lady I'm drawing here, and again, I have 2 daughters, where women are out there in the workforce doing their own thing. And, you know, I get the fact that guys will be guys and, you know, guys are going to want to pick up women and all that kind of stuff, you know, and I think I've prepared my daughters pretty well for it. But a woman should not have to feel like, you know, in the workplace, like she's some object, basically, because we're all human beings. And nobody should have to, I'm trying to capture this woman's feelings exactly right, which is just, hey, I'm here and I'm being groped by these you know, someone of power, basically. And let me bring this arm over here. Let's see where this Democratic donkey's grubby mitt goes. I think you get the joke here. But a woman shouldn't have to feel like an object, you know? And I'm all about, like, you know, I'm not super politically correct, you know? If I'm familiar with somebody, I'll be the first one to make, you know, off-color jokes or whatever, but not in a professional setting. You just don't do it, because that's not the time and place for it. And it's wrong for women to feel that way, and it's even more wrong for them to be made to feel that way by our representatives and by people in any position of power. But it's really, really wrong for us to be funding it, okay? And even wronger than any of that is for some guy in Pakistan, okay, in Pakistan, all right, to have all of the information from Congress. I mean, all their emails, God only knows what's in there, God only knows how many documents. Let me get her leg coming down here. And at the end of the day, I honestly wish the entire country, and I'm talking Democrats, Republicans, no matter how far-leaning liberal, no matter how far-leaning conservative you are, if we could all just get together and go, okay, let's unseal those documents and let the cards fall where they may. You know, just let everything pan out the way that it pans out. Let me get in here, because this is what this is really about. This is the emergency swamp AMP drain. AIN. Once that lever gets pulled, down goes everybody. And, you know, basically, that's all for me today. Just get with me on this. And be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, where I'm going to share my very first and my current favorite piece of newly acquired hate messages. Yay! It's pretty much in all caps, and it starts with, "Hey, stupid, effing, Trump worshipping clown. There are 11 things I absolutely hate about you and your stupid cartoons. First," and I'll leave it there. But some of these are really good, so make sure you check out tomorrow's episode. And yeah. Be sure to click like or dislike if I pissed you off. I'm pretty good at that. Subscribe to my Draw the Line Mars YouTube channel. It's supposed to be linked to in the text if I don't forget it, because I've forgotten it several times now. And of course, you know, make sure you share, because I want to keep doing this for you. See you in the comments, and yes, I try to respond, even if you're really, really angry and type things to me in all caps. Mars out!